Oh, yes.
Welcome back, everyone. Today I want to do something a little different, something I haven't really done before, and just kind of give a quick recap of the entire first wave of Earthrise. Just kind of I guess, final thoughts, if you will. So I really just wanted to cover the overall pros and cons of this first wave, what I liked about it, what I didn't like, and I guess kind of a projection, a prediction of maybe what's to come, what we can learn from these. So the very first wave of Earthrise is a bit weird because it's partially comprised of toys from the previous toy line. Now there is a lot of evidence that backs the idea that Astro Train over here was originally part of Earthrise and then got shunted forward into Siege, which it's possible. I could see it happening, especially given his very Earth-like alt modes. But I don't think that's the case with Smashdown here. He was released much earlier in Siege's life. So, if anything, he might have been brought into Earthrise to fill a spot left by somebody like, let's say, Rung or Singe, maybe. I don't know. That's purely just speculation on my part. So, I guess let's just look at each class as a whole. So, starting out with the Micromasters. They're fine. Absolutely nothing wrong with them. None of them blow me away. They're very much the same type of Micromasters we got in Siege, which is not inherently bad, but I wouldn't say they were very exciting. They're probably the ones I was least eager to obtain because I knew it was just, okay, more Micromasters, cool. The Battle Masters, well, one of them we've already seen before, Smashdown. And, while I think he's one of the best Battle Masters to come out of Siege, I would have really have liked to see a new toy. Now, I get he was hard to find for a lot of people, so if this is a good thing for you and you were finally able to get him, awesome. My take on his re-release is purely selfish. It's just because I already got him, wanted to see something new. So he's not bad. Sound Barrier introduced a very cool concept, but as a figure himself, I think he's just kind of garbage. He doesn't really transform. He just flips his backpack down, and that's about it. He's a rectangle with even less transformation than the previous rectangles, the tapes. So I gotta say, I'm hoping to see better with the transformations for the Battle Masters in the future. The small classes are probably, to me, the least impressive. Moving on to the Deluxe, I'd say they're kind of a mixed bag. I think Hoist and Cliff Jumper are the G1 updates that we all needed. I think they're just awesome. There's the whole debate about Cliff Jumper's size and is he worth $20? And, that aside, for what he is the best Cliff Jumper toy, period. Love him. Hoist, while I find his design funky, it is his original design, so I can't really hate on it. Like, that's just what he's supposed to be. Ironworks is very cool. He is a whole new concept that borrows a bit from the weaponizer concept, and I think there's just so many uses for him, and his robot mode is interesting. It's like if a shipyard got hit with the Allspark and came to life and became a transformer, so very, very cool. Wheeljack, I think, is my least favorite. Just because he just seems so bare bones. Like, he looks good. There's nothing wrong with him. He's a very cartoon accurate Wheeljack, but he just feels lacking. He should have come with an extra gun or something to really flesh out the $20. Because he's just very basic.
You basic.
Like, yes, he's got the one weapon accessory that you can wield as a gun or whatever, but then you're missing the iconic shoulder cannon. If anything, they should have just given him 2 shoulder cannons. I think that would have been perfect. That way, if you want to emulate the original toy, you can have him slap both on his shoulders. If you want to be more cartoon accurate, you can put one on the shoulder, one in his hand. Best of both worlds. Moving on to the Voyagers. They really surprised me. I'm not going to lie. I wasn't very impressed when I first saw the renders. I thought they looked a little cheap. I thought Starscream was a massive downgrade from the Siege figure. And while there are some things I think the Siege figure does better, I've really grown to like this new Starscream. I think he looks really great in both his robot and jet modes. He is a bit lacking in the posability, but he does G1 Starscream better than I think any other toy has done so far, including the Masterpiece. He at least gets the cockpit, pointing in the right direction there. Astro Train, he was already released in Siege, so I won't talk too much about him. I will say he suffers from the same thing Cliffjumper does, is that he's a good figure that's probably overpriced for what you get. But as a figure, definitely the best Astro Train we've gotten. And then Optimus Prime, the centerpiece of all this. Love it. How can you hate on it, right? It is exactly what people have been wanting, an update to their original 1984 Optimus Prime toy that they hold near and dear. It is true he's lacking on the paint department, specifically his trailer, but if you're a customizer, you can fix that yourself easily if you're, really, really that determined to have your perfect Prime. The only thing that really can't be fixed is the absence of roller, and that's probably the one thing I would say keeps him from being a perfect update. We'll probably never know why roller wasn't included. I mean, safe to assume budget reasons, but I doubt the design team or anyone at Hasbro would just be like, oh yeah, we were too cheap, so we didn't do it. So that'll bug me for a while. Maybe we'll get lucky. Maybe there's a Battle Master or Micromaster roller coming down the pike. I think that'd be great. I'm hoping someone at Hasbro had this idea and he could be included in one of the 2-packs or sold as a Battle Master or something, because Optimus needs a roller, and the Micromaster Battle Master size is like the perfect size for this. So now, for the wave as a whole, it's a strong start, I think. It's hampered by what seem to be some budget cuts here and there, specifically looking at Wheeljack and Optimus. Like, there had to have been at least a desire to include more than what they did. So, you could always give them other accessories, other weapons, or versions of roller if you want to, or you could go third party if that's your bag. But it really shouldn't be this way. For the amount of money they cost, they should come with the whole package. Again, I'm not crazy about the number of repacks in this wave, especially when one of those repacks is one of the only 2 leader class toys we get in the first wave. It just seems very lacking, right? Kind of makes it a slower start because you get one new leader class toy and that's it. And then you gotta wait for wave 2, which isn't due till, what are they saying, like June? Something? So there's not as much here as there was in the first wave of Siege, and that is a shame. But the good side of all this is it really shows us what they're capable of. It shows us how their philosophy has evolved already after just 1 year-long toy line. They have gotten a lot more minimal in the battle damage, which I think a lot of people appreciate. I didn't dislike the battle damage, but in principle, but I thought it was poorly applied in most cases. It just looked like silver paint spattered all over them. I'd say Hoist does it really well, where it just looks like he's got like a little bit of mud or scratches on the hood of his truck, and like, that works. It doesn't look overdone. You can see they've taken the same core engineering from the Siege figures and moved it forward without really making any sacrifices. They got all the same posability points. And I think this works really well as a sequel or a follow-up to Siege. Now, I personally would have liked... I thought when they announced War for Cybertron that the whole trilogy was going to be on Cybertron before they come to Earth. And I feel like just getting one quick toy line that takes place on like the Civil War Cybertron and then moving on to Earth modes, even though they're not supposed to be on Earth yet, and I don't know how that works. I think it was really rushed. I really want to see more potential there with what they could have done with that whole Cybertronian aesthetic, but they decided to make a different call there. So what can you do? Now, we've seen what's coming in the next 2 or 3 waves already because of Toy Fair, renders, all that. Double Dealer is going to be very cool. Though, as far as we know, he is going to be the only new leader class toy in the second wave, and I guess they're just repacking him with Optimus, which, oh boy, it's really a slow release schedule. I like the fact that they retooled Soundwave's cassettes to work with Double Dealer as his Power Masters. Hopefully they fit in his chest better than that mold fits into Soundwave's chest, which is not at all. The new Voyagers are looking really cool and are surprisingly not already retools or redecos of the 2 that we have. So that's refreshing. They didn't just hit that repaint train right off the get-go. The Deluxes, of course, look very cool. Trailbreaker is a retool of Hoist, but I mean, that's the way it's supposed to be, so not an issue there. Uh, I've heard a lot of speculation on Sunstreaker. I don't think he's a retool of Wheeljack. If anything, he might do some part sharing or share some engineering. But I'll wait till I get a better look at him to say for sure. The new Battle Masters, while they both unfortunately still turn into shields, they seem to be a little more creative in the transformation process. It's not just like one step and that's it. The Snake one is very cool. And then Double Crosser being a two-headed robot, I mean, that's neat. How often do we get those? The new Micromasters I'm kind of excited for. Two of them are just more of the same. They just turn into cars, basically, and it's like, oh god, more of this. But the Combiner team, the Space Shuttle ones, that's neat. I think, we need more of those Micromaster Combiner teams because they just have that much more play value. And I'd rather have the gimmick of the combined alt mode going on than these stupid tacked-on weapon modes. I hate them. I wish they'd just do away with them. The execution on those is almost always poor. And let's see, outside of these size classes, of course, we have the new Commander class, Skylynx, which is an absolute must-buy for me. I mean, I was so disappointed with the one that we got in Combiner Wars. I mean, not only did he not have all of his base modes, but he was just way, way too tiny for a character like that. So I'm happy they finally went and made, like, the Skylynx. And then, of course, Scorponok, who looks just amazing. I mean, he couldn't have turned out better. I know some people are disappointed that he's a Titan, because in most of his fictional portrayals, he's not actually a city bot. He's like a normal-sized Transformer, and I get that. But, they are basically doing updates of the toys more so than the cartoon characters. So you would expect that they're going to make him a city bot to pair him up against Fort Max, because that's what, these Gen X and late millennial types are really looking for, which is who they're really marketing this to. Who knows? I mean, just the fact that we're getting him as a Titan doesn't preclude the possibility of getting a smaller Scorponok down the line. Or I can guarantee you, if you're willing to go like third party or like knockoff, though I do not condone, but if you are, somebody's going to make a smaller Scorponok. Just like they make the oversized knockoffs, someone's going to make a smaller one because they know people are going to want that. So I would just hold out if you don't want the big old Titan guy, though. I absolutely do. I'm very happy that they did what I was hoping and made him a double headmaster, like Fort Max's, to account for the massive size difference between a Titan Master and Scorponok's head. They didn't do what the G1 toy did and just give him this little itty bitty stupid face and like a giant helmet. Thank you, Hasbro and Takara, for doing that. I'm really happy they kept with the animation model face, which normally I lean toward toy accuracy, but in his case, the animation model is just much better looking and much more universally recognized as Scorponok. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much all I had to say on this first wave and, what I'm looking at for the future. I know there's going to be some stuff that hasn't been revealed yet, and I'm very excited to see what else is coming. I'm wondering what they're going to do with Selects past this cassette 4-pack. My bets would be, we know a G2 Megatron's coming because it leaks. And I think there's going to be, a hubcap or bumper or one of those is going to be, I think, Selects. At some point, whether it's through Selects or Takara Tomy exclusive or maybe mainline, there's going to be a redeco of this Optimus. I don't know if it's going to be Nemesis Prime. I don't know if it's going to be Shattered Glass, though I kind of doubt that one. Or, what I think would be way cooler, because I'm sick to death of Nemesis Prime, G2 Optimus. They already got the mold here. You just repaint him accordingly, give him a cool black trailer, all that stuff. Yellow eyes. Huh? Yellow eyes, right? Like, that's what we need. The G2 Optimus Prime toy. Alright, and now, I think that's all that I'm going to say on these. I hope you guys enjoyed listening to this little, just kind of discussion, little rant of mine. I know I normally do my commentary like within the reviews themselves, but I just want to do something a little different because Earthrise is an exciting line. This is an exciting time to be a collector. So if you did enjoy this, make sure to hit that like button so I know that this is the kind of stuff you want to see. If you want to see more of my videos, anything else that I put out, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you always get a heads up when I post something new. I thank you for sitting down and hearing me out on my thoughts for the first wave of Earthrise and beyond. And with all that said, I will see you next time.